Oh, it's a full house, baby. You know what
What?
else? We even have our our new member.
God damn it.
Oh.
That's right. It's
What?
Halifax, the fucking street beaver. Hi guys.
They cleaned up nice, actually.
Ah, I did clean up nice.
Oh,
Oh, Halifax, the street beaver. Mm, hi.
Yo, Spike.
Yo, Spike. Yeah, so you only get that little taste of Halifax. You won't see him again until the next time we record on Tuesday, and then Halifax will make his triumphant return. Going from wet, dirty street beaver to clean and fresh street beaver.
Are you gonna explain this to Colin, or have you?
No, I just love looking at his face of
like,
complete,
like what?
like I can't tell if the screen's frozen or he's actually just frozen in terror.
I think screen frozen.
Maybe.
Although,
Anyway,
that was a terror-inducing speech. Oh,
hey,
unfrozen.
Colin, he's back. I can tell because he blinked. We were debating whether or not you were actually frozen or just frozen in terror after meeting our new third
Me?
for
Yeah, no, I got this lovely country ass internet going on. So yeah, every so
Uh,
often I'll just be frozen in time. Bomb it, Shaggy.
stuck in amber.
Show.
Okay, I just want to point something
Not-
out before. Oh, go ahead. Go ahead.
I was gonna say not unlike those Jedi in Obi-Wan Kenobi. Frozen in amber. Oh wait, you haven't seen it?
I'm kidding.
He still hasn't seen Andor, though.
Actually, I haven't watched Obi-Wan
Jesus.
either.
What?
I'm not a real Star Wars boy.
How dare you?
I don't know if you guys knew that. Not a real toy. I'm not a real toy guy, and I'm not a real Star Wars guy.
I heard you don't like Motu either.
Yeah, it's
Yeah.
it's
Hate
all
horror.
a lie. Hate
Or
horror.
horror
You know
at
who,
all, yeah.
you know who
Don't
can
like
really eat a butt?
comics.
Mike Mignola.
You know what I really dislike? I don't.
Smoking food.
Yeah, I hate smoking food. I hate eating food. This all facade. All right.
Total fun.
Real quick, I just want to show something, and I want to say thank you to Matt because Matt is my dealer.
Street level.
Goddamn kids. Goddamn.
Is that Leatherhead?
Yeah,
Yes.
he's
Nice.
so good.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't know if I'll see. I mean, I'll probably will see more, but definitely, if do you want more at full price, or do you want me to try and?
If you see him cheaper, faux show, but I would not even bitch about paying you
for a potential another one at full price.
Yeah, I would not even bitch about having to pay you for a full. He's just such a good figure. He's just such good modding fodder. I also would take another one of these boys
Okay.
just for the soft goods.
All right. I'll keep an eye out. I know there's a few other ones out right now, but they haven't been. It's like
Yeah, there's Boss Man,
haven't seen Boss Man
Angle, and there's a fourth one.
I know there's Bulldog, Kane, and
Bulldog.
Ali.
Yeah. Bulldog, I'm down for. Like, I don't know. If Ollie's robe doesn't have a bunch of shit on it,
I think it might be plain, but I don't know. It may say, Muhammad Ali on the back.
Yeah. I want to use some of those robes for like wizardy shit, but
Look, it could just be a wizard named Muhammad Ali. It's fine.
oh, that's kind of cool, actually. In fact, I might be a wizard named Muhammad Ali at some point. But I want to do shit like this. Like, this is some fucking peak wizarding shit.
Mhm.
Also, hopefully, I've been asking Cassandra, maybe the tab will get done today.
That robe
Yes,
almost looks like the Manos Hands of Fate robe.
It does.
I just confirmed the figure's robe does say Muhammad Ali on the back.
God damn it. Can we, hey, Mattel, can we just not constantly have the need to fucking identify every.
But that's that's what he wore.
I'm not gonna do this next year. Oh, by the way, I guess they're at the arms yet, but
No.
look at the chonk.
Yeah, that's
Chonk
got some
is what?
chunk.
But
Ooh.
like the Softgood Bigelow jacket works perfect. I gotta figure out a name for him too. Last but not least, I
Like an
swear-
Evil Scout's about to choose fire instead of water.
oh god, yeah.
Timothy
Do
Elephant.
you think I can just take these off with
Acetone?
not acetone but rubbing alcohol?
You can try, and if it doesn't work, let me know. I can just hit it with acetone quick.
Okay. Because I really like this, but I don't want.
Well, yeah, you don't want.
I also would like to get this off of there too.
That at least is abstract enough that I think you could work with it, or you could cover it with like a pouch or a
Yeah, or just paint it black. I guess.
talisman or something. But
Also, these little
telling me you don't want a Motu guy
these
named
little
him.
wrist cuff boys. Ooh,
Oh yeah, those are great.
those are hot fire. All right. Anyway, sorry. I don't get to talk toys with Matt very often on a stream and ask questions.
I bought this thing.
How is the Street Shark boy?
Street Sharks.
They're pretty good. I mean, they're not as articulated in the legs as I would like them to be, or in general, but they're not bad.
What do you think of that Kickstarter that's going on with the Monster Boys? I know Dave backed it.
Oh, I don't know.
Oh,
I did.
those look cool.
Yeah, it's like I love the colors.
I love that.
I adore the colors. Ooh, he's got roller boys on.
Not the Ballad of the Roller Boys or whatever it is.
Oh, let me see if I can find this thing so anyone who wants to see it. Can
Roller
see.
Babies.
Roller Babies,
Oh.
yes.
Is that? I thought that was that Solar Babies? Was that the same thing?
There's
It's Solar Babies, but I always called it Roller Babies.
I think there's a Roller Boys.
Is there a Roller Babies too?
I think there's Roller Boys. Yeah, it's just called
Solar
Roller
Babies
Boys.
was rad.
Oh, Prayer of the Roller Boys.
Prayer of the Roller Boys sounds like
Yes,
something
and
else.
it stars Corey Haim
Oh yes.
and Patricia Arquette.
Oh yes.
A
All right,
young
these boys.
infiltrates a powerful drug dealing rollerblading youth gang.
Can you make
As they do.
this screen? Can you make my secondary screen big? There it goes. This screen.
Ooh.
Oh, yeah.
These
Yeah,
boys.
I think they had I think Dave had the guy who's putting those together on the couple of the streams. So
Yeah, these I
They're neat.
like the figures, but because they don't have any articulation and everything, I'm not as big on them. But the color schemes are absolutely
I think
spectacular.
well, those might be prototypes. I feel like they're supposed to be articulated, but I don't
They're
know.
articulated, but just in the classic 5.5, like waist,
Yeah.
arms.
I thought it was more than that, but I could be wrong.
The colors are, and also the fact that this guy has got like his name is like Shamumu, because he's a bull and a killer whale combined is like peak.
Well, that does dovetail. I've got to free up his ankles, but I did also find Big Slamu.
Ooh, big slam.
Woo!
Hell yeah.
Who feels like his last name should just be Annoy or Annoy. Oh, what is
Oh.
Dr. Paranoid.
Oh, that's the main bad guy. Yeah.
that? Make your screen big, Matt, when you're showing that.
I can't.
business.
Hold on.
I don't have the powers.
You have the power. You got the touch.
I've got the power.
Oh yeah.
I mean, I don't know. I mean, not to get you started on any additional roads,
You won't.
but
Yeah, I mean, but the what I'm really after is the swappability. Does that guy's armor come off? Because it doesn't.
No,
Why would
no.
I even? Yeah.
none of that shit comes off.
Yeah.
That's you get what you see.
I mean, it's cool, but it's just not for me.
Sure.
And I don't have the same attachment to that line.
I don't really have any attachment to it either, other than that it's ridiculous. and these, are reasonably compatible with the bulk of my.
Oh
third
God, is that an Uncle Fred in the background?
Is that a what?
Is it Uncle
yeah,
Fred
it
in the
is.
background?
Yeah. Well, I got an extra of the Legends, the updated tugboat. So I'm gonna put the heads on there because they're better.
All I can think of is Uncle Fred. Oh
And
God.
I've got to find
Oh God.
another Lesnar head so I can use the body.
Nice. All right. Well, I put polls up this week. 2, in fact, because I put one up last night. And
I responded to both.
Thank you. What sort of game? The Justice Society game 1. I'm not sure exactly how I'm gonna play that. I think maybe as like a legacy style thing. And then I put up a poll late last night on like tone, and currently, it looks like the Keith Geffen style is in the lead by 1 vote. So
1 vote. That's okay. That's funny because 1 punch.
Because what?
1 punch.
Oh yeah.
Get it?
So there's like what? There's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 categories. And 5 of them have votes.
Okay.
So it's tight. And I can see who voted.
I'm just not on Discord very much.
Well, you know what I vote for. You know what I want.
I knew
I
exactly
voted for the cool stuff.
I knew exactly what Nate was going to vote for too. The minute I put it on there.
Oh yeah, no, yeah.
So Matt and I believe Shaggy. This is my call to guilt for you both.
Damn.
Is
Vote.
this your sacrifice?
This is my sacrifice. My
My
sacrifice.
sacrifice.
You can make it right.
Boo.
You can make it right.
Boo. Where is this?
Make it right. Yeah, I don't know where that is. Must be on Discord.
Where is it? Miniseries games?
Oh, okay.
Because out of all of them, that's the current leader is the one I want to do the least.
The haha?
Yeah.
Well, why did you put it on there?
Because other people might want
Everyone
to
vote for mystery.
Yeah.
Vote for.
It's
vote
not
for
about
mystery.
what I
You know
want.
you wanna. You
yes,
know
it
you
is.
wanna.
If you're running it, it absolutely
Yes, it
is. If there's
Not for
something you
extra-
don't want to watch or don't want to
Not
do,
for
don't
extra
put it
life.
on there.
Not for extra life. It's not. Thank you.
Dude, it is because then you end up running stuff that you don't like with people who don't know you watching.
I know it'll be fine. I mean, I'll have fun, but it's the one that falls. It's definitely 10 on the list.
I will not run anything for Extra Life. I'm not interested in running. I'm just going to let you guys know that right now.
So I think what you're confusing here is I'm interested in running, but it's the tone. It's the tone I'm least pumped about.
I know.
Otherwise, I
Why
wouldn't
would
put it
you
on.
want to run something that you're least pumped about?
Oh my gosh, I think you're missing.
No,
point.
I'm not missing it, Ben. I get it. You're putting the power in the player's hands, but I feel like when that happens and it's like not something that you're excited about. We've like literally talked about how hard it is sometimes when like you're doing something that like you're doing for other people, but you're not necessarily doing for yourself, and it's like not nearly as exciting as you'd like it to be. I'm just saying. I'm trying to get at all of these symptoms that we keep talking about.
Okay. Gotta bear myself down. Fire to rage. All right, so I got ideas, and I just kind of today I want to kind of open source ideas for this and for liminal horror. I had an idea for liminal horror that I was very kind of interested in, which is kind of the Backrooms expedition type thing. If anyone's watched Kane Pixel's The Backroom stuff, except for they end up finding out they're in Dread Carcosa on Halley, the Twin Suns, and the Cold Lake. So also, I also like this whole thing about being in a Wells Fargo over a weekend with a dead person.
Oh, dude. God damn it.
But because it's liminal horror and you're not really in that Wells Fargo with that particular dead person, because you've stepped in somewhere sideways. So anyway, those are those two ideas I currently have for liminal horror. For those that weren't around, this is the game Liminal Horror. I feel like it's a pretty easy lift for folks. It's 36 pages. It's very similar to Cairn, which I think is extremely simple, streamlined, very
Cairn.
much like D&D. Also, I think I've settled on for superheroes, we're going to use Power and Responsibility, which is a Layers and Feelings superhero hack.
Okay. That should be good. Keep it simple as far as mechanics and everything.
Yeah, very easy. And I think it lends itself because of that to like superhero-y stuff. You know, rather than like being real crunchy, which I think sometimes superhero games can be.
Mhm.
Like if Spider-Man can't throw a brick, that tends to get me upset. Because it could be he can throw a brick, it doesn't mean he's going to always hit. Or even that it's not that he's not always going to hit. It's like let's use bullseye. It's not that bullseye won't hit, it's just maybe he doesn't hit the way he wants to. I think sometimes games like Mutants and Masterminds, which is a fantastic game, can sometimes get so into the weeds of being almost like a super crunchy game that it saps a little bit of the awesomeness of 4-color superheroes out of it. You know, that if I'm like, I'm going to throw a car at you, and you're able to pick that car up and throw it, and then you roll back and you throw it 10 feet and it just falls. You know, I mean, that's good in a haha game, but in like a, you know,
even in a haha game, that's not that good. I mean,
I can find the humor in that. You know, in a
Sure,
game
but
like it's funny, but
there's
it's like
funnier options.
serious, like in a serious, you know, mutant kind is on the verge of extinction. You're being killed by sentinels game. It's very frustrating.
Yeah.
I need to block the Siege Perilous with this car, and then you throw it like 3 feet, and you're like, oh, and then someone gets pulled in. And you're like, well, that was fucking terrible. I hate this game, and I hate you for making me play it. I've played games like that. I would prefer not to. All right. So a couple ideas. I think this one most likely, unless something drastic happens in the voting, I won't get to use. But I like the idea of Brother Eye being the predecessor to Solaris, the Sun Tyrant. But what happens if those two things are actually from Earth 3? An Earth 3 version shows up.
Oh.
For those that don't know, Earth 3 is the Crime Syndicate Earth.
Well, wouldn't Solaris be good then?
Yeah, so would Brother Eye.
Brother Eye isn't necessarily evil.
Yeah.
Brother Eye did some evil shit.
Well, it depends on which Brother Eye, I guess.
Exactly. That's why I'm saying, what if Brother Eye eventually evolves into Solaris?
Well, sure.
So, murder mystery wise, what if someone was murdering like kind of the lower tier magicians in the DC universe? Maybe a little bit of Clive Barker's Lord of Illusion style shit thrown in there.
Ooh, yeah.
Because I was realizing, like, I don't know how I came across it, but I came across like the nursery rhyme for Simon Dark. And I was like, oh man, I remember that comic. Colin, you have
Oh, yeah.
It's Steve Niles wrote it. I can't remember who drew it, but it's really good. It's very much like Steve Niles' book in the main DC universe. And it is in the main DC universe. Simon Dark lives in, like, doesn't really live. I don't know what you call what he is living. In Gotham. But Simon Dark is scary. He is a person made up of other persons. And he does dispatch some people with piano wire in that comic. He is definitely kind of, if I kind of would look at him almost like if Candyman was kind of a vigilante hero. Mixed in with some Frankenstein, and it's a great comic. I very much enjoyed it, and I don't know why DC doesn't. That character has not appeared at all since their 2-year comic. But I always liked the idea that here was this magical character that lived in Gotham, but the area he lived in, Batman just left alone because of that. We are all made of persons in some way or another. But there's like a weird, Freddy's going to get you nursery rhyme that goes with him that the kids do about. Let me see if I can find it really quick.
I heard that we are all made of stars.
I mean,
Sorry. Spike, that mine was way dumber than yours, man. So I need to apologize. I am so sorry, everybody.
Lurks in shadows, hides in the park. Simon, Simon, Simon Dark. If you're good, he'll stay away. If you're bad, he'll make you pay. Lurks in shadows, hides in the park. Simon, Simon, Simon Dark.
Stars.
Also, he has a Freddy sweater. I'm not joking. I like that a
And a
lot
fucked up face. Holy shit.
because read it, you'll find out why. It's not pleasant. I like the idea of a Per Degaton time traveling to kill the League when they're kids. Which seems like that's kind of Per Degaton's entire. That's the story that they always go to with him. Is, oh, I'm a time traveler. I'm going to go back in time and kill you. I'm trying to remember if there's any other Per Degaton stories I remember that aren't him doing that.
I mean, I don't know.
Nazi time traveler gonna Nazi time travel.
Yeah, I don't know. Per Degaton is Per Degaton. He does nothing for me. But
he's got a cool outfit. The black and red looks good, and he's got those stormtrooper dudes that look cool too, that are black and red. I've also thought about what if he's time traveling to kill like important members to these League members, so like they're more malleable and they're like, instead of like killing Kal-El, he kills the Kents. When Kal-El, he like prevents the Kents from finding Kal-El.
I mean, that's more interesting, I suppose.
Or he kills Alfred. So Bruce has no one.
Well, or I mean, if you were the kind of guy who was like, hey, I don't want a Batman, you go and you save the Waynes.
Ooh.
I like that better. How do you then deal with like Superman, or how do you deal with Diana?
I mean, depending on how you, I think he's limited to Earth in terms of where he can go.
Mm-hmm. So he can't change Krypton, he can't change Mars. Although he could fuck up the matter thing that brought John Jones to Earth.
Yeah, or just make it so he can go back. And then with maybe Clark is like, that's the one that you save for last, and then you get a Per Degaton raised Clark or something.
I like that
in
too.
the end,
Yeah, the idea of Lex finding Clark is always interesting, or Lex, it's Luthor, or not? What's Luthor's dad's name? Lionel.
Lionel, yeah.
I like the idea of this one a lot. A Starro outbreak in Kandor. So Superman sends this group in, and like, hey, I can't go in, because, like, I believe Kandor's under a red sun.
Something like that, because they don't have powers.
Yeah. So if he's like, if I go in, I won't have powers. So, and we're basically, in all of these, I can basically say, no, there's a league emergency. So, like, your characters are basically the last. It's like, I'm asking a favor. I'm Superman. Come on. But I like the idea of a Starro outbreak in Kandor. It makes me very pleased with myself. The next one is more like a zombie apocalypse thing. It's the Joker makes a hybrid of Venom in his Joker formula and releases it in Santa Prisca. So Bane comes to the PCs and says, I need to stop this, but I need help.
Or do you do it in Blackgate or Belle Reve?
I'd rather do it on Santa Prisca because it's an island.
That's fair. That's fair.
And I like the idea of Bane being like Bane and being like, I hate asking, but I'll ask. A Fantastic Voyage into Superman. Something infects Superman, so you're shrunk down by the atom, and you have to go inside Superman to kill whatever it is, to stop whatever it is.
I would also say if you're going to go with that, maybe work in some Silver Age style Red K. So he's also undergoing wild transformations into like a fucking Bugman or a mole or whatever the hell while you're in there.
What if the sentient? What if the Red K is sentient?
Oh, well, so there's the Kryptonite Man. I don't know if there's a red Kryptonite Man.
I don't remember the Kryptonite Man. Isn't he? He's just like green, right?
Yeah, he doesn't show up a ton because, that power level is.
Okay, yeah, I do remember him. I just remember having a better look than what he has currently.
He's never really had a great.
You know who had a good look? Terraman.
Terraman is a wild character.
Yeah.
Okay,
I'm a cowboy on a flying horse. On a steel horse I ride.
Yeah.
By the way, I can cause disasters.
So the Kryptonite Man just has green K powers. So there can be a red Kryptonite Man or a different Kryptonite Man who.
Or just sentient red Kryptonite.
Yeah. I mean, Super Spike's got it. You just say, maybe Lex, blasted Kryptonite Man with a thing, and now he's red. Or you go even more, you lean in on the Super Age thing.
Or if it's the offspring of the Kryptonite Man.
Oh yeah, it could be. Well, or it could be something where it's like the elements of Doom or the Metal Man or whatever, but each one is a different Kryptonite color.
There's a lot there, I think. That's very Silver Age, and I really love it. All right. The Ultra Humanite has used the Thinker's technology to digitize his mind and is planning on using it to infect Wayne Web 3.0. Talia al Ghul alerts the PCs for her own reasons. So it falls into like if you have a cell phone, you become the Ultra Humanite. The minute you look at your screen, you're like, oh, Ultra Humanite, now it's infected you.
All right. Yeah, that's got legs.
This one I think feels very Grant Morrison because if you've read Superman and the Authority,
yeah,
which is what I was looking for too, which is kind of frustrating because I was reading a thing that in the back of the Omnibus Volume 2 is Morrison was talking about all those names of just he drops of characters that don't exist. And he was talking about that's how we got like Professor Pig and the Flamingo were names that he put in there that then just had legs of their own. And then he kind of felt forced to put them in because he was like, they just wouldn't go away. But he does it in All-Star Superman too.
Yeah.
There's like a dinosaur guy Superman fights. There's like all these things that happen that they're like characters we'll never see again. But I'm like, they're so fully realized that I'm like, why do I know what's going on with them? You know, it's like he said when he was like, hey, when I put Knight and Squire back into that book, no one had been using them forever.
No.
But I wanted to write them like they've had their own title for the last 30 years.
Mm-hmm.
So like I will refer to things that happened in my mind, but never on a page anywhere. So people are like, well, I wouldn't know. And he's like, tough.
Well, yeah, then there was the Paul Cornell Knight and Squire miniseries where he picked
Yeah,
up
which is
those
great. I really
characters.
like that miniseries.
Yeah.
What are you saying? So I look at my screen and become Big Brain Monkey. Yeah. Well, I would say you don't become Big Brain Monkey. You be taken over. You be taken over by Big Brain Monkey. I also like this one a little bit. Is Luthor wants something that is in Prometheus's nowhere house, and he sends the PCs there to get it. But he only has 20. You can only keep the portal open for 24 hours. Primarily because I fucking love Prometheus's nowhere house. You talk about liminal space,
and I can't remember if they established that it's the same as the Phantom Zone or the same.
It is. It is the Phantom Zone.
Okay.
The nowhere zone where they stuck all the white Martians is basically a part of the Phantom Zone.
Okay.
Easier to reach apparently, and much harder to like traverse back. But he uses that key, and I can't remember what the name of that key is.
Yeah, like limbo key or something.
Listen to us just typing away. Of course, you just put in Prometheus key, it does nothing for you. It's like you just get like tons of bullshit. Cosmic key.
Okay.
Oh, and it wasn't the nowhere zone, it's the ghost zone.
Ghost Zone.
Was this house called the nowhere house then?
I don't think so.
For some reason, I thought it was. God, I hate pop-ups.
Cosmic brownies. Yum, yum, yum.
Oh.
Well, now.
Sorry, I'm looking this up real quick. I see all these references to the ghost zone, but where is
It was like his Crooked House or something.
Crooked House? Is it the Crooked House?
I can't remember.
Yeah, I'll be right back. 1 second, guys.
I mean, it's crooked, which I love. Yeah, if you go to his actual like the DC database, it doesn't even name the house.
Yeah, I just did.
It's dumb.
Ghosts. Yeah, I don't know why.
Dumb. Come on, DC, be better. Do better, DC. I expect more. All right, next one. An open mic night at the Keystone Saloon goes horribly awry.
I mean, that's great.
That would be the haha, I think, definitively. So for those who know, the Keystone Saloon is where all Flash's villains hang out. It's basically a more fun version of the Bar with No Name. I also like the idea of kind of vibing it. If anyone's seen the Justice League Unlimited episode where Flash Museum's going to open and Flash goes there with Batman and Orion and the Trickster's there, of course, voiced by Mark Hamill, and he's off his meds. And he and Flash have like this conversation. He's like, "You really need to get back on your meds." He's like, "Yeah, I know, but it's one of my favorite things because then as they're getting ready to leave, like Orion is basically like, not only is he a fool, but his enemies are fools too. I would just smash them." And Batman's like, "Yeah, because you're a fucking asshole." He's like, that whole episode is glorious because it is just Orion being Orion, Batman being like, "You have no humility and you're a dipshit," and Flash just being like, being Flash, being like, "Hey man," he's like, my villains and I, we have kind of.
Now is it open? Is it open mic night or karaoke night?
I don't know. What's the consensus? Would it be open mic night or karaoke night?
See, karaoke allows.
Beard, what's that face, man? What is wrong with you?
Nothing.
You made this like grimace. This
I
horrible
have
grimace.
a cut on my lip.
Oh, are you all right?
Yeah, it's just like it's just dry, and I was trying to scratch it.
I feel like there are Flash and other villains who would do karaoke that wouldn't do an open mic.
That's fair.
And then you can get into like what songs would different.
How about a karaoke contest?
There you go.
For what would be a good prize that villains would turn out for? Contest. The prize is the access codes to Star Labs Vault. How about that?
Yeah, that could work. I'm trying.
So there's actual stakes.
Yeah, I'm trying to figure out or you could do something like Glorious Godfrey is emceeing and he's just going to give the winner a boom tube generator or something.
Oh, I do like that too. Okay, I'm going to put that down as well because I'll have to think about that. Because he's just shitty enough to do something like that.
Well, that's the thing. I could see it be like, oh yeah, we don't care. We made it so that this one can't actually take you back to Apocalypse, but this will just piss off Earth. So fuck it,
I also thought about it being like Mr. Mixopitalik and being like, "Oh yeah, I will for 24 hours give you the ability to kick the shit out of Superman."
They actually did there was a recent arc in World's Finest where a sixth dimensional imp comes to Earth, and it's kind of like the Champion from Marvel, where he's like, I go around and I fight the most, whatever. And
I do love that.
So Mixie and Batmite get involved to try and stop him, and at one point, Mixie either gives or Jimmy Olsen takes Mixie's powers and tries to fight this guy.
Well, didn't they establish that the Thunderbolt is also a fifth dimensional imp?
Yep, the Thunderbolt and Quisp from
was that Aquaman's guy?
I believe so, and then there was another one.
Oh goddamn! You guys are killing it with the song, options over here. All right, next. Cupid, who's a Green Arrow enemy, kidnaps the PCs, puts them in a horrific dating game death trap, after injecting them with a variation of the Task Force X dead switch.
You could also, I could see that also being a situation that Roulette might involve herself in.
Mm-hmm.
They could work together if you needed more villains.
Roulette is using this as a way to generate income. So she's like the host, but
Yeah, it's
Cupid.
just like, yeah, you can use my deal. You know,
I look at it as like Roulette's the host of this, and Cupid's on like one side of the wall, like, and then there's just monitors on the other side of this wall. So she's asking questions all the while, like the PCs are in like maybe Hub City, and it's been filled with just dumb, crazy things for them to have to deal with while they're trying to answer these questions. And then like Cupid, because she's fucking unstable, can make the situation worse the more she doesn't like their answers. I also feel like this one very much has like a Justice League Unlimited cartoon vibe to it.
yeah.
Godzilla beard. Beard, thoughts? You've been dead quiet.
I'm woefully unprepared for talking about DC. DC is not my home, so I'm just like enjoying soaking up the lore. I honestly like most of these prompts. I don't have much input for because I'm just not super familiar with all of the lore.
Do you have ideas though? Just it doesn't even have to be about lore. Just kind of like basic ideas we can then kind of fill lore in with.
No, I mean I think that there's a lot going on with everything that you guys have going. I think that one of the corners of the DC universe that I don't see a lot, but I enjoy a lot because I think that James Robinson does a lot with them is Jack Knight's Rogues Gallery. I mean, there's many that are dead, but
they don't survive very long.
Yeah.
Some of them do.
Yeah.
Is the Mist still alive? Is she still around kicking?
No, the second Mist is dead. Well,
I can only think of Shade as being someone who
Shade is still around.
who's not really even a villain.
It's same thing with Bobo Benetti, who I always liked.
Yeah.
As far as actual Jack Knight like villains, I think Alias the Spider is dead.
He always comes back.
Oh yeah, he did come back in Hawkman, didn't he? Or one version.
He came back in Hawkman. He came back in Seven Soldiers.
Okay, so he might still be around.
He's like there's something where like they've said that he's like tied to some elemental force of chaos, so he can't really die, and he's only somewhat aware that he can't die. Like, and there's kind of like lingering horror in the back of his head, like he can't completely die, so he can never just move on. He's stuck.
I did enjoy, not that he's and I don't even know if he's still alive, but I did just enjoy the random bits of characterization that Robinson gave some of the guest villains, like Copperhead.
Mm-hmm.
Where it's like, oh yeah, he collects radios.
Yeah.
And also is a superpowered mercenary.
I think that's where James Robinson shines, though, is like not the punch him up, but like like the characterization. I think that book was far more about like people than about punch 'em ups. I mean, and he was able to do that even with the villains. He made the villains like interesting that way. And that's why I think his Justice League Cry for Justice thing fell on its ass so hard. It's because it was a punch 'em up. Right, it's hard.
Yeah.
And
I think actually the original Mist killed Nash.
Really?
Yeah.
Yeah, I think so.
Because there was the twist at the end there that he, like the original Mist, had actually made a deal with Neron during that whole thing, and so he wasn't senile anymore.
What if we get I'm trying to think of something to do with Gentleman Ghost.
Yeah.
What if Gentleman Ghost puts together a 24-hour long, like, is able to get uses Felix Faust to raise like a team of dead villains for 24 hours? But that whole thing is just a facade because it's really about Gentleman Ghost robbing something. This is just this big bullshit so he can go rob this thing. Because he's just basically, he's just a thief. He's a glorified thief.
What happened to, is Johnny Sorrow still around?
He appeared not too long ago.
Okay.
I don't know what happened to him, though. But yes, he's still active. He's another villain that can't really die.
Yeah, and there's been a couple ragdolls, so there's that.
I was looking at Hawkman villains as well. I was like, oh. Because there was a story where like a bunch of the Hawkman villains get together and they just absolutely kick the shit out of Hawkman. But that also has the great thing where Hawkman kind of comes out of it at the end. But like after they think he's dead, and there's a scene where Matter Master is holding a bunch of people hostage. And he's like basically calling for Hawkman. Hawkman just throws his axe through the room and cuts his arm off that's holding his thing. And he's like, oh my God, you cut my fucking arm off. And he's like, yep, fight's over. And people are like, what are you doing? But Hawkman's got some interesting like villains. Like, Fade Away Man's great. I do enjoy oh God, it's not Biff. Biff's okay. Onimar Sin. That's like some cosmic shit.
Yeah.
Hathset, I like the reincarnation thing. But I think the best two are always Gentleman Ghost and Shadow Thief, and the whole thing is they're both fucking thieves. One fades into shadows and one's a ghost. So, they're a little bit, they're treading on the same path. So yeah, I think something with like, I don't know. Help me help you by helping me flesh that idea out, because I feel like right now all I'm doing is treading the same water I had coming in. So we have letters that don't make sense. Okay. Gentleman Ghost. Felix Faust is still alive, right?
He dies and comes back. And
he's another one of those guys that is just like, uses Felix Faust to raise 6 villains from the grave. What's a good object that he would want? Because I'm also thinking like, it wouldn't necessarily be something about power. It would be something worth a lot of money. Because I've always got the feeling that like Gentleman Ghost doesn't like want to be more powerful. He doesn't want to be alive. He just wants to be rich. What if it was the Philosopher's Stone?
That could work.
$11 billion. Where would they keep something like the Philosopher's Stone?
I mean, isn't it usually being carried around by Mr. Element? But
he would be in jail. So this is, I think, what we're doing here. We're going to steal this and use that Glorious Godfrey. from a Star Labs vault in St. Roche, because that's where Hawkman was basing out last time I remember. Who would the 6 villains be?
I mean, who's dead and stayed that way, you know?
Oh, yeah, let's see. Dead DC villains. Let's take a look.
I'm sure there's plenty. I'm trying to think of anybody who's super like interesting.
Dog Welder. I do like the Exterminators from who are basically Marvel pastiches.
Oh yeah, they tend to come and go as
Living
alive.
beings as well, robots. I'm trying to think of like fun villains, like interesting.
OG Killer Frost.
That's a good one.
yeah.
Are we looking for any particular like hook for them?
No, I think just like low to mid-range villains who were just kind of, you know, in that kind of tier.
How about
that.
Electrocutioner?
Do love me some electrocution.
Yeah, Electrocutioner is great. Got a great look.
Yeah, and Roy Harper like straight up murdered him.
Oh.
What was that in? I don't remember that.
Rise of Arsenal. I just remember it being a big deal.
Is that
Yeah.
after he
Is that
loses
what
his arm?
And
Yeah.
Todd to the dead
And then
cat.
they didn't reboot him during New 52. I think he's been dead since then.
I'm trying to remember if there's any villains Wonder Woman killed or was involved with who are deceased.
I mean, I'm sure.
Now I'm trying to like. Wouldn't it be fun if there were 7 of them and they were each a villain from the Big 7?
Oh, that's a good idea.
You could do Dr. Polaris for Green Lantern.
Is he dead?
As far as I know, they're both dead.
Yeah, some version of him probably is.
Is Max Lord still dead?
I don't think so, but he doesn't. He can't
He's-
do a lot either.
Yeah.
So we could use Electrocutioner as the Batman villain. I mean, what about? Okay, so let's start over. So we're going to use Dr. Polaris. So let's look at this Big 7. That's our GL villain. What about the Batman? Chillblaine. Chillblaine is not bad as a Flash villain.
Oops, all Doomsday. That's amazing.
That's also, I like that idea of Felix Faust just tapping into the multiverse, but
Solomon Grundy, yeah, kinda.
I
I
mean,
mean-
comes and goes.
I think he's currently in JSA. Like, I think he might be a current member of the JSA.
Wait, what?
Well, you remember every time Solomon Grundy dies, he comes back different.
Yeah, his personality changes.
I think he's in one of those like reform states. Which that might be a Paul Robinson thing from Starman.
Yes, that is. It was a way to kind of explain away the variations in his.
It's kind of like what Morrison did with the Joker. that the Joker just reinvents himself constantly, that he's so crazy that he's constantly like changing himself. That's why you have the Joker of like the Silver Age who's doing weird stuff, like just fun stuff. It is all like, oh, you got me, Batman. And then next time he shows up, he's poisoning a reservoir
Yeah.
and killing like 100 people. And then the next time he's like, you know, turning people into, humorous sculptures, but not killing them. It's just because Joker is consistently like almost like changing facets of his personality. And that's why, like in that run, when he, spoiler alerts, shows up as Oberon Sexton, that's just another facet of his personality.
Yes.
Which is his version of him being as close to Batman as he can possibly be. Which is very interesting. Because I also just realized in there that at one point Damian asks him if he's Bruce Wayne. And Oberon Sexton says in return, "I'm not your father." So it blatantly says Joker knows.
Yeah, I mean they've definitely.
But I think that was the first time they ever did that. Was him basically saying, "Oh, I know who Batman is."
Yeah, I mean now there's so many freaking characters that know now.
So what's a good dead Batman villain? Who's a fun dead Batman? Do we want to go with Electrocutioner?
I do like Electrocutioner, but I don't know.
Who's the dude with Scarface the doll? Is he dead?
Ventriloquist?
The original one was, but I don't know if he still is.
Oh, okay.
I think they brought him back. I think that because there's been like 3 ventriloquists.
Yeah, there was the second ventriloquist who was a woman, and it was the same puppet.
Yeah. There was also the fucked up looking lady ventriloquist.
Yeah.
Could use, I think someone mentioned Ragdoll earlier. Could use like an earlier version of Ragdoll. I think that Ragdoll was a Batman villain at one point. Even though when everybody thinks Ragdoll, I think of JSA. Which is weird because I don't even know who Ragdoll was the main enemy of. Like which character they were an enemy of.
I think he was a Golden Age Flash villain.
Was he? The one that looks like Raggedy Ann, or Raggedy Andy. Which I always found so disturbing looking.
Ooh, what about the Wrath?
Yeah, Flash was he was a Flash villain. And yes, Wrath is in. I do like Wrath.
Who is Wrath? Why am I?
He's like Batman's exact opposite, but he killed himself in an explosion that he triggered. I think he's 80s style.
Yeah, the original one it was a Batman special, and it was Michael Golden art, so it was good shit.
Oh, they brought him back, didn't they?
Oh, did they?
Yeah, he now has like a bunch of armor and stuff. I don't know if it's the same guy, but
because he had a
Why,
sidekick too.
DC, why you do that?
as I'm reading through that Morrison's Batman stuff, I forgot how much I enjoyed the Red Hood 3-issue arc where he comes to Gotham and just starts offing villains, and he's just like, "Oh, crime fighting is growing up now." After Dick becomes Batman, and he's got that girl who Professor Pig tried to turn into a Dollotron that didn't finish.
Yeah,
as his Robin. And the Flamingo shows up at the end and shit goes real bad. Prometheus is still alive. They've tried to kill Prometheus off. I think they claimed they killed him off in Midnighter, but he showed up since then. That Midnighter story was one of the best Prometheus stories, I thought. Yeah.
Steve Orlando is doing a new Avengers book, and it's already fucking great because it starts off with half the team fighting Sin, who's empowered by some ancient mask of hatred. The other half of the team playing poker, and then at the end of the book, Night Thrasher shows up and gives everybody jackets.
Yeah, I was gonna say I saw that. I saw they're doing West Coast Avengers again too.
They are, yes.
With not Vic Stone. What is his name? The what it turned out to be like the good Ultron.
I don't know if it's that Ultron or a different one yet.
It's the version. It was the.
I wasn't sure if it was the one that
It's the Al, apparently like the Al Ewing Vision-esque character from that thing
yeah
he was doing. From what I understood, it turns out to be like the programming from the Ultron, like
it was
Mark
the one
6 or
Ultron
something like.
12, I think, was the good one.
Yeah, who was like name was like Mark.
Yeah, but I don't know if that's the one that's showing up in this West Coast Avengers or not, or if this is a different one, because they're acting like he's maybe not good, and they made it pretty obvious that the other one is. So I don't know.
Yeah. All right. So we've got Dr. Polaris, Executioner. We need a Wonder Woman villain. We need a Superman villain. Flash. Martian Manhunter, which that'll be fun to figure out.
So you need, let's see.
Ooh, who's Bette Noir? Noir.
I don't know Bette Noir.
She's a Martian Manhunter villain, apparently.
No.
She's an enemy and sometimes ally. She can't really be killed, apparently, because she's just a psychic form, or psychic form, because Dr. Trap killed her at one point, who's another Manhunter villain.
Martian Manhunter has more villains with the letter X in it than any. It's like, it's ridiculous. It's like, hey, okay, we're gonna just use the last 4 letters of the alphabet, and you have to use at least 2 of those in every villain's name.
Yeah, he has like some significant like drow D&D drow naming conventions.
Yeah, Zenturion, Zum, Beljuz, Commander Blanks with an X.
I mean, depending on whether you care about the original, which Flash version it is, the Fiddler is dead.
Fiddler's great.
The original Fiddler. Same thing with the original Mirror Master.
Mm-hmm.
I like the Mirror Master a lot. So,
And I think, yeah, the original Trickster is still dead, I believe. Golden Glider.
Oh yeah.
ooh, Golden Glider might be a better choice. 'Cause I like the idea of it. Them being like kind of that mid tier. Because Mirror Master can be nasty as fuck.
Yes. I can't remember if
I mean, Dr. Polaris is already, when done correctly, it's a big nasty.
well, it's the same thing with like I think the original Rainbow Raider is still dead, but like depending on how you play those powers, like it was never done that in the comics, but like he's super powerful.
Martian Manhunter has a villain named the Getaway King, which I fucking love. But I don't know if he's alive or not. He just looks like an old white dude.
Of course.
His name is also Monty Moran, the Getaway Mastermind, but his real name is Montgomery Moran. I want to know more about this old piece of shit Silver Age villain so badly.
I do love that was one of my favorite things with Suicide Squad was at some point it's just John Ostrander going through all the Supergirl rogues gallery and bring him back.
Oh God, who are you, Getaway King? Why can't there is nothing about this guy.
Well, I mean, he barely.
Oh wait, is he dead? I mean, he was an old man.
Yeah.
I think we put him in there. He's like an old man who died, and now he's like, I'm pissed because I died and no one fucking even knew it. Plus, Martian Manhunter's rogues gallery is kind of woeful.
Well, oh no, wait a second here. Is he still? Did he die? Oh, because
God damn. And plus, it's spelled getaway. And now my image in my head is him like in Beard's fucking Southern gentleman voice. Because I feel like all of those, like the gambler and those characters, all have that voice. So when you get them all in a room, it's like a Southern gentleman off.
Hell yeah.
Okay, so we got Green Lantern.
okay, so
Yeah.
Dr. Trap is still alive.
Yeah, with Bette Noir trapped inside of him.
Dang it, because I love Dr. Trap.
Yeah, that look is very horror.
Well,
It's
and
very
and-
like Saw-esque.
and Chase is I love Chase as a series so much.
Well, also Dr. Trap is the Martian Manhunter villain. So,
Yes, but he wasn't originally.
oh really?
No, he first appeared in Chase.
I don't remember that. And I have that whole series. All right, who are we missing? We got Flash, we got Manhunter, we got Batman, we got Green Lantern. So we need Wonder Woman, Superman, and Aquaman. I know
Cheetah and
Aquaman.
Bizarro have been said in the chat. Huntress. For Wonder Woman.
Are any of the blood sports dead?
Ooh,
Superman? Because there's two of them, weren't there, that were kind of big deals? Or slightly?
I think they're still both around in the current stuff. But
Okay.
I think it's hard with the Huntress because that name's been so co-opted
yeah,
into Batman lore.
Yeah.
I mean, for multiple characters.
I mean,
multiple-
here's the thing. Even if we have 50 people watching this, we could deal with some confusion. You know? Like, if we want to use the character, use the character.
true.
yeah, I'm just not
Weird
sure.
question,
I don't
so-
know enough about that character
Oh.
to effectively use it because all I can think of is like the Batman.
Gotcha.
The
versions.
lady.
The lady. Is Dr.
she's the
Poison?
lady.
Dr. Poison's kind of.
Yeah.
What about Blue Snowman?
No clue about Blue Snowman.
He looks like a robot, a blue robot with that boiler on. Yeah, apparently he was like a Golden Age villain that they brought back. Like that he uses the same technology as Mr. Freeze and Captain Cold.
Oh.
Who in the blue
He
hell is
put
Blue
up in the
Snowman?
New 52 for God's sakes. And Rebirth and Infinite Frontier. He just keeps showing up. He stayed with Harley and Ivy for Christmas and Infinite Frontier. Holy shit. Like, this character is awesome. I know nothing else about him, but we can't use him because he's still alive. I can't tell if it's like a battle suit or it is a bodysuit.
I feel like all
It's so good.
Wonder Woman villains have either been rehabilitated by Diana or like lost their powers or were brought back to life in like the New 50. Like, just like reading through, I'm like, oh yeah, and then at the end it's like, was brought back during this, was reformed by who and who.
Yeah, I mean but I mean, again, if you dive into the World War II era, you could just say, oh yeah, they died. We just didn't hear about it.
What about Engelman?
Engelman, I think, comes and goes as far as whether he's alive or not.
Suggestion for Superman, Master Jailer. I don't think he's come back, and he knew
I fucking love Master
Clark
Taylor.
Kent was
Yeah,
Superman.
Taylor's good.
He's got the goofiest costume too. I fucking love it.
It's pretty wild.
It's like if someone was like, "Hey, Baron Zemo, your costume is too colorful. Let's just do a similar costume and suck all the color out of it so it looks even weirder."
And add some Cenobite spikes all over it.
Yeah. I just want to know if Engelman's still alive. Come on, DC, tell me the truth of my dreams.
Okay, so the original
There was an enemy called Wonder Woman had an enemy called the Crimson Centipede. It's just a centipede man.
Sure, why not?
It's so it's so Silver Age and it's insane. But I think about it, it's like a centipede man with like
Holy shit!
a ton of
Dude.
arms, but he's got a ton of gun holsters for each set of arms. It's terrifying.
Ew.
I'm thinking if Engelman is not around, maybe Crimson Centipede becomes the go-to because my God, that is terrifying.
Yeah, that also goes into like that icky, creepy, crawly fear that a lot of people I think have. Like I hate centipedes.
Yeah, I do not like them. He died in Crisis on Infinite Earths. Okay. I don't even remember what he can do. Like, does anyone know what his powers are?
Whose powers?
Engelman?
Oh, he's got crazy powers.
He's a crazy man power guy.
Because his original deal is he'd always just find the angle on stuff to be able to do the crime, but then he eventually got like a fucking triangle that
Oh, he could fly.
he could like reshape reality with.
He's
love
like so he basically is like the key. He was like, "Oh, now I got this thing that makes no
Yeah.
sense. It does all these things. Does all the things."
Yeah.
So do we go with Crimson Centipede or do we go with the Engelman? What are our thoughts here?
I mean, you could just if you for Wonder Woman, then yeah, again, you could go with like the original Dr. Poison or some of the.
But that's the thing. I want to know what you guys prefer out of those two.
For
I'm-
me, I'd go Crimson Centipede.
Yeah, Crimson Centipede's wild. I will be right back.
Yeah. Although I love this this synopsis for the Angleman was an unsuccessful criminal who became obsessed with crimes with unbeatable angles.
Oh, they updated Master Jailer's suit, huh?
Yeah, he's looking cool.
Because the one I always remember is the one from the old Who's Who, where it's
Wait, are
literally
there-
just like a gray bodysuit with like a white.
Yeah, the
singlet
old
with-
school one. Yeah.
Yeah, with like jail bars and with like basically like bars and a lock on it. That looks like some early 80s wrestler outfit with a mask and everything. It's so bonkers. Oh, so good. But I actually don't mind his weird like techno suit thing either.
Mm-hmm.
It's
I
kinda
think that looks really cool.
All right. We got one more. Who do we need? We need Aquaman. That's right. The guy no one thinks about.
I think about his villains more than I ever think about him.
Yeah.
Like Black Manta, love Black Manta.
Black Manta's cool, especially when they said, Black Manta is autistic. I was like, oh shit, that's interesting. I always feel like he's such an interesting. Aquaman is a character that has like the potential to be fascinating, and then just like they never seem to
There's
figure it
certain
out.
runs of him that have been super duper good, but overall, it's a lot of wasted potential.
Yeah, Peter David had a decent run, and then there was the thing where he was like it was like a more of like a barbarian Aquaman. Like I think that was like right before the New 52, where he looked younger.
Mhm.
He had like a sword. No one puts Angleman in the corner. And then there was I picked up the 2 John's trade paperbacks of Aquaman and the Others. I really liked that.
Yeah.
It was like the whole deal. Like Aquaman had basically like he had like a group,
Yeah, he had his whole like pre-Justice League,
like
Justice
a team.
League.
Yeah,
Yeah.
which I really liked those characters. And I like the idea that like slotted in pre-Justice League, and that's a good run, and plus the art's spectacular.
Ooh, check out Dead Water for Aquaman villains.
Yeah, about the only one I could come up with was the Fisherman.
I do like the Fisherman. I don't see Dead Water anywhere on the list.
Apparently, he was stabbed through the neck by Aquaman with a trident.
Yep.
That's fair.
Yeah, that's
Was
what
that probably during Peter David's run?
I'm not totally sure. The Fisherman. Oh yes,
Fisherman's has got a look as well. Just a
he's
straight
looking
up
like
vibe.
he just came out of Cobra Commander's like closet. I'm loving this.
he also just has a giant fishing rod.
Also, Dead Water's a monster. This is straight up monster guy. Hi, I'm
What's
a
wrong
giant
with
monster.
Beastie Boys?
Yeah, I'm a monster guy. I'm a monster, and that's what
I'm
I
a
do.
monster man. I'm a monster man.
I'm a monster, baby. Whereas Fisherman, isn't Fisherman was one of the assassins in Venture Brothers. One of the 3 assassins that came to kill Brock, who was a fisherman guy.
Oh, I don't know.
Do you know he may be based off? Okay, I gotta look this up.
Dude, you gotta use Cutlass Charlie. Just literally the greatest.
Charlie.
He just looks like a classic pirate with like Fu Manchu mustache. He's terrible. He's a pirate
Oh
with a
God!
cutlass that could shoot fire.
Okay,
He's
so they were
Amazing.
Latour, who was a German guy, who was always like licking his guns and stuff. No, that was Hair Trigger. And by hair, it was Herr, because he was the German guy. Latour was the French guy who was obsessed with Batman, who has the conversation with Hank about Batman. And then at the end, he's like, how could you do this? What would the Batman do? And he's like, I have to be true, Hank. I only love the Batman for his villains. But also has like a vest like
Yeah, he's
Craven.
Craven, yeah.
Yeah, and then Brock is like, what's with you assholes? And what's with you sword guys and your stupid swords? But there is a third guy who was simply known as Go Fish.
Yeah.
And Go Fish is he's like, he basically, isn't he, what's his name? From Jaws.
Oh,
God.
yeah.
Oh, I can't think of the guy's name all
Quint.
of a sudden.
Quint.
Yeah, he talks like there. And Brock kills him with a great white shark. Oh God. Yeah, those are the 3 assassins they send after Brock in that entire episode. He murders all of them horribly. Latour. Yeah, I could see doing that's the Fisherman gets it.
Oh, because I was just gonna say, did Aqua Baby ever come back? Because that would be wild.
No, he did not.
Yeah.
And he's blaming Aquaman for his death.
What are these 7 villains doing? So I'm thinking like if they do this thing, Foss tells them if they do this thing, then they'll get to come back permanently.
What?
I would assume it'd be something to do with the league.
Yeah, like do they go to the like the Watchtower or something, start some shit, or
I think we just have it the Hall of Justice because they've been using that again now. What are some of the items in the trophy room of the Hall of Justice? Because that was the thing from the Morrison Prometheus story. Is like Catwoman used shit out of the trophy room.
Yeah.
Which I always liked. Oh, and she whipped him in the nuts, which was always great. So it looks like at one point there was the Spear of Destiny, the Ace of Winchesters, which I don't know what the fuck that was, Crystal Ball of Merlin, the Black Diamond, Cloak of
here,
Sierra.
I'll be right back 1 second.
There was a hidden library for the Justice League Dark, which is kind of terrifying. Because that seems like a bunch of shit we should not have access to.
No, probably not.
Oh, shit. The Ace of Winchesters was made from Halo steel and Hades gems bound in the ivory of saints.
Oh, yeah, the Ace of Winchesters ain't nothing to fuck with.
Yeah, it's a rifle that apparently the demon gave to the League to keep. God damn, that thing's got a history to it, huh?
Yeah, that was Hitman, yeah.
Hitman, Hellblazer, the Demon, Catwoman. That might be our go-to there. Like maybe like if each one of them shoots somebody else, they get to take their place. Not like their place, but like they get their life. So that person goes back or takes their place in the afterlife. It looks like the Crystal Ball of Merlin. Maybe what they used to do Crisis on Three Worlds. So you can like travel through the multiverse with it. Interesting. The Cloak of Sierra. Was supposed to be similar to the Helmet of Fate.
Okay.
Apparently was worn by someone called Sister Symmetry. So it's basically like Dr. Fate's helmet. It looks cool too. I think we go with the Ace of Winchester.
Yeah, I think the Ace of Winchesters is probably...
That's an interesting thing. I think I was only peripherally aware of that. Kill one person who they... God damn, that one has got some serious legs to it, I think. The nice thing about this is like I can do all of these at another time too.
Yes.
So some of it will be like coming up. Like this whole thing right here, this first one, I wrote very little because I've got way more in my head for this.
Sure.
So just to like give a little bit of idea, what if this escaped Earth 3 and is now sitting on the edge of the bleed and becomes a headquarters?
Hmm.
So my whole idea in my head was like a Superman robot gathers this group of players together and puts them through these paces, and then it's revealed to be a robot at the end. The PCs are then doored to this Brother Eye Solaris, or Brother Solaris, I guess probably, on the edge of the bleed. And who's there? Batman and Superman. Why are they there? Because they're there to tell these PCs that the League has been compromised. In fact, they might be compromised. So they need people who are outside of all this to look into it.
Mm.
So basically they say we need outsiders.
Okay.
So it's like the PCs become the new outsiders.
Yeah, that's solid.
I think that's a really good hook for like a series. But I like the idea of their headquarters being like, you know, this Earth 3 version of Brother Eye / Solaris. And since it's setting in the bleed, it can basically teleport them wherever they need to go through doors. So, if I go back to this, it'll be like mini-series type stuff. But I don't know if anyone else is reading The Outsiders currently, the new Outsiders book.
I didn't know there was one currently. No.
Yeah, it's kind of in the vein of Planetary. In fact, the drummer's in it.
Oh.
But it's got Kate Kane, Batwoman, and Lucius Fox's son, whose name I can't remember, as in the Bat family. Huh?
Batwing, at least, is what he was going by.
Or Signal? Was he maybe Signal?
That's Duke Thomas.
Okay. Beards. Bye, Beard. That's why he was so quiet. He doesn't feel well. I like that. That they're doing is they're looking for like hidden stuff in the DC universe. I haven't been reading it, but I've been like looking at it and going, "Oh, that could be really fun." Like I loved Planetary. Too bad Warren Ellis is a weirdo. But like I really enjoyed that book. Like I liked that idea, and the fact that now we've got basically Planetary in the Prime DC universe makes me very happy. So that's kind of the longer pitch for that, which I might come back to. Like if people really like their characters, maybe I'll somehow tie this into that. But I think that's my last one. Was 7 villains get infected by the 7 deadly sins. They escape after they escape the Rock Fraternity. The pieces have to track them down, capture them, and put them back. It's pretty straightforward.
Yeah.
I think out of all these, it's the most straightforward superhero, thing. It would just be finding the villains who get infected. I mean, it also has the feeling of that JLA JSA crossover, that hardback they did.
Yep.
Something Virtue and Vice, maybe was what it was called.
Yeah.
That has the really gross panel of Power Girl licking Wonder Woman's face because she's infected with lust. Yeah. All right. I think we talked a little bit about the liminal horror stuff. Any ideas for that?
Well, if you're locked, one idea I had that would be I thought a little spooky for the Wells Fargo thing would be like if you're there with a dead body, it keeps showing up in new spaces. but it's still dead.
Let's see if I have anything in my.
This is the problem with this one is like I
Yeah.
love the idea of it,
Mm-hmm.
but like I don't have a like what is the story besides just trying to leave?
Right.
So I have to figure out like what is the actual what's the thing there? You know what I mean? With the Carcosa one, it's easy because I'm like, oh, you guys are part of the team that literally walks into Carcosa, doesn't realize you're like the third team in because the other two teams haven't come out.
You are a teller or a banker at the bank, and this is a customer who kept an elderly customer who came in early or something like that, and you kept having to be like, oh, just wait there. And then when it's time to leave, you notice that the body is dead cold, and all of a sudden the doors aren't there. And the things, you're like trapped in like, backroom kind of maze. And maybe you hear something too, like the sound of footsteps or whatever, and every so often you'll find the body in a new place, and I don't know if it'd be in the same position every time, but yeah. And maybe there's a manager who tries to like find a way out or something, a branch manager, and they just biff it in a horrendous way of some sort. Like maybe like some sort of like, what is it from Kane Pixels thing, that giant, remember that?
Mhm.
Some kind of creature like that comes into play as well. Or the body itself. I don't know. And maybe like you add in that the elderly customer was like very much in distress or something, like put off or whatever, and like you are all kind of in a way racked with like the guilt of it, like holy shit, can you believe what happened? And then you go to seek help, but then realize you're trapped.
I like that. That's a more of a fleshed out idea than mine. I feel like there's a middle ground and something like where we can combine those things.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, I'm not sure where. I kind of feel like this one's more like in that liminal space idea of, and it's also like there's plenty of those Kane Pixel things where it's like group heads in to look for previous group.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Which
Yeah.
that's basically stealing from. It's just I like Carcosa as an idea.
Mm-hmm.
Since it's just like this foreign plane and maybe nothing's there except for possibly Haster. I don't know. I got to think on that one a lot more. That's why like I had that idea we talked about for Mothership, and I was pumped about it. And then I was like, well, Mothership's like 90 pages long. I'm not going to ask somebody to read that. And the character sheet's like 3 pages long. I love the idea of it. I feel like I've got a really good idea for a story.
Mm-hmm.
But I don't have the time or patience to learn a new system right now.
Yeah.
Especially now. But here, I think we got a lot done.
Yeah, definitely.
So, forgot an A in there, didn't I? I did. All right. Well, we've been hard at it for an hour and a half. So thank you guys for your time. Where can people find you? Beautiful, beautiful titans of industry.
You can find me here doing prep school every so often. You can find me on the hidden path, being a cool Nalgri, senior citizen. You can find me Mangin on Meng. And you can also find me spooping and trooping. And yeah, and sometimes you can find me gaming and stuff like that. Like we did returning to Moria. What a fun time. So yeah.
What a treat.
What a treat. It was a treat. I can't wait to play that again with some people because that was so fun.
It was fun to watch. I was disappointed I couldn't play.
I can't wait for you to play with us. It's going to be a blast, man.
Get there, man.
It was so good.
I might, I mean, if things play out the way I hope they will, I might be able to I will probably use my severance package to fix my computer. To upgrade my computer to be able
Why
to do
not?
That.
Yeah.
Well, my severance package is big enough to where that will be not a lot out of it.
Good. Yeah.
Especially if I already have employment as soon as that.
Yeah,
comes
definitely.
Definitely.
Yeah, because I think that would be I know Cassandra was like, well, what do you want to do with it? I was like, well, I'm gonna probably just like get the parts. Douglas was kind enough to say, like, well, I'll build the computer. So it's just gonna be here's what we found on the cost. And I'm like, okay, that's perfect. That's perfect, baby. Anyway. For those who don't know, I was informed my position at work is being eliminated. So
yeah, that sucks, man.
I'm glad you've got at least possibilities.
Yeah.
Yeah. People I know at the state in the realm of employment who I worked with, not for, but with previously before I took this job. Reached out for and asked if I would be interested, since they were like, I heard you are now going to be with, yeah. And I was like, I indeed will be available starting on this day. And they were like, well, how would you feel about working with one of my friends works there, and he was like, let's put the band back together. Which I'd be down for. I liked working in that environment.
Mm-hmm.
And I apparently do really well working with kids, like high school age kids. Or my old job, my old nonprofit reached out and was like, my supervisor, who I'm friends with on the Book of Faces, was like, I'm really sorry about all this. Do you have plans? What you're going to do next? And I said, not yet. I literally just found out. And they were like, we do have openings. If you want to come back, we really like to have you. It probably wouldn't be in exactly the same department, but we would love to find something for you. So I have that option. And then, believe it or not, my current employer for the next 15 days, a few years ago, the head of HR asked me to do a presentation because they heard that I'd done stuff in hiring before. So I gave a presentation and it went sideways because that person didn't do any type of prep.
Mm-hmm.
So I stepped into a meeting full of angry people who had no desire to hear a fucking word I had to say. And instead were like, your plans suck. You suck. What you do sucks. It was supposed to be 15 minutes long. It went almost an hour.
Oh,
and I was able to survive that. And apparently, a couple people afterwards were like, "I thought it was really good." I was very unhappy about it because I was like, "Yeah, thanks for throwing me into a fucking lion's den of angry people."
Well, yeah, I mean that's BS.
Um, in her defense, I don't think she had any idea it was going to be that bad.
yeah.
But I was like, "Hey guys, this is what I do, and this is how it works." And instead, I got like people going, "That might have worked 3 years ago, old man, but it doesn't work in today's environment." And I was like, actually, I'm using the same style and format like right now, these same techniques, and they're working. So perhaps, Dickface, you would like to rethink your comments, you total piece of bullshit.
Mhm.
Of course, I didn't say that. I desperately wanted to chew people out, but I did not. And I have a friend who I brought in who works in HR, who's a little higher on the food chain. And when they found out, they were like, "So what are we going to do?" I was like, "I don't know. I am still like in shock a little bit."
Mhm.
And she was like, "Well, we have a spot that I think you're perfect for," and send it to me. And I said, "I am not qualified for this because of the educational aspect of it." By the way, if I'm boring you, just tune out.
No, no.
Curious.
I
What's happening with you?
she was like, "Yeah, your background is equivalent. What you've been able to do is an equivalent is equivalent to the education portion, and you have a lot more experience." So I put my resume together and sent it over, and the next day they were like, "Fill this thing out, this questionnaire thing out about just a basic, like almost like a screen type thing."
Mhm.
And then my friend was like, "Hey, just so you know, they're like all about you coming into the department." So,
Well,
and then she was like, "Here's what it pays," and I was like, "That's more money than I make now." She's like, "I know, right?" So,
that's the choices, which is a great place to be.
yeah, I think it's. I see. That's the whole thing. Is I would fucking love working with my friend Jenna. She's Cassandra's work homie, is what we refer to her as. We worked together for a number of years at another agency, and when I left, I actually tried to get her to come to the place I was at after that. And instead they went with somebody else, which was annoying for me, which also was, that whole place was like that. Especially considering I was like a shot caller there. But when I went to where I'm at now, and they needed someone, and when they tried to get me to go to HR, and I said no, this is who I suggested, and they hired her on the spot. So, and she's been killer there. So, yeah. So it's I would work with them again in a heartbeat, because we are very similar. In fact, it's like, this is a job, and I take no shit, and like, let's get work done. Let's get our stuff. Let's be on task. I'm not here to make friends. Like, I'm here to get my work done, and I'm here then to be done with work. I'm not here to. I'm not in a cult. I don't really give a shit about all the other stuff. I just want to work. I want to get my work done. I'm not here to make friends, which I think is probably some of the detriment that put me in the position I'm in now. Was I was not anyone's favorite. I don't kiss ass. I don't play games. So I think that in some ways hurt me, because when my person who brought me in left, the people I was left with were not fans of mine. They didn't want me there. So as I told my friend Jenna, I think what I realized by the end of the week was they couldn't fire me. And they were more interested in doing some other things, and the budget got tight. And they were looking at having a new position, which is funny because I was the person pushing for them to do this new position because I thought it was completely necessary. What they didn't tell me is when they put that in the budget that it was eliminating my position to do that, which is kind of messed up. Like I said, not mad at it. Not mad at the company, actually, at the nonprofit, because having been in those positions, I get it. I completely understand. What I'm upset with is if they just would have said that, or even said, hey, we might eliminate your position because of budgetary reasons to do this other thing, I would have been like, I completely get it.
Mm-hmm.
But when you message me at 12:05 to say we have a meeting at 12:30, and you don't tell me what it's about, and what it ends up being about is we are eliminating your position. You have till the 30th. That was on Wednesday.
Mm-hmm.
So less than 2 weeks, or a little barely more than 2 weeks. And you have till Monday to decide if you want to take any of these positions we have deemed commiserate
Mm-hmm.
to your current spot, 2 of which are part-time. And the other 3 are full-time, but I would have to travel around the state and they pay significantly less.
Yeah. No.
And in all honesty, it's quite a step down. So I was kind of like, why in the fuck would I take those positions? So my thought is they didn't want me in an apartment anymore. So they look good by cutting something. And then in a year, when they've got that back in the budget, they will rehire for it. That's my guess.
Mm-hmm.
Which, it's shitty to do. It's shady as fuck, but it's also, I know how that works. So it doesn't break my heart. What upsets me is the fact that you could have just told me.
Just be upfront about it.
There's that. So I have no problem working for the same company because I'd be in a completely different department. Also, the best part is the last person who brought me in, who's now the head of that entire department. I'm like a sub-department of a sub-department in a department. We're a huge organization, statewide, with national groups. That person is why the person who brought me in, my mentor, left because they applied for the same position and they gave it to the guy who came from working and running factories, so he's a logistics guy. My mentor is a human services guy, and they went with the logistics guy and not the guy who actually. Anyway, he gave me a good luck in your future endeavors. That's a quote.
Oof.
Message. When my message to him was thanking him for the opportunity, the time, and everything else, my message was a thank you message. His response was good luck in your future endeavors. Quote. And that's where I was like, this is also the same person when my mentor left, called me off hours, personal cell phone, to say, are you staying? We really need you to stay. I'm counting on you to stay. Basically did everything but outright beg for 45 minutes that I wouldn't leave when my mentor left. How important I was. Fast forward a year and a half, and I'm not going to be there anymore. So you can see where I would be like, I feel lied to, and I do not enjoy that feeling.
Mm-hmm.
So anyway, I have options. My hope is to, and I can't figure out how this works, and I know that Jenna is looking into it for me because she's a fucking saint. The only person who was as angry as Cassandra was Jenna, and I wasn't angry at all. As you can tell, there's some stress involved, but I feel pretty good about this whole thing, actually. Jenna was pissed. But my hope is to somehow figure out where they have to pay me the severance package, and then I go right into working in HR, because technically that severance should come from them eliminating my position in that department And since I won't be working in that department, I'm thinking that somehow that they need to pay me for that, for them eliminating that position. So even if I have to tell HR, like, I would love to work for you, but it's going to have to take until after the 1st because I have to finish up my time.
Right.
You can't officially hire me until the 1st
Yeah.
because I want my severance. I deserve my severance.
I would hope. I mean, I guess if they can't or won't make that happen, that's an answer in and of itself.
Yeah. Because I want that severance so I can upgrade my fucking computer. The rest of it can go in savings. I could give a shit about that. The rest of those
fair.
thousands of dollars. I want my $900 for my computer upgrade. If they were like, we can give you $1,000, I'd be like, then we're good. We're good. We're golden. We can give you a percentage of what we told you we'd have to give you. So yeah, that's where things are at. So if I'm a little weird, I'm sure it'll be more as like we creep up on that day because it is what it is, and stress will increase. And my former boss at the previous nonprofit I worked at before this was like also sending me all these things about dislocated worker, because I worked in the employment department assisting people with disabilities maintaining employment. I was an employment counselor. But I didn't work in dislocated worker. That's a different sub-department. And she oversees all those employment options for veterans, dislocated worker program. There's like 6 departments in that. It's shocking how much there is to learn about unemployment from a nonprofit perspective that works as a partner with the state government. But yeah, I was like very much like, you do not have to tell me these things. Like, this is so nice of you. Or my friend who reached out who works for the state. I was shocked because he basically messaged me and said, I've already reached out to people we both know who work with you, and told them that you're going to be on the job market. And what can we do? Justin did not have to do that. Still to this day gets me kind of choked up a little bit about it because that dude is a friend of a friend who I got to be friends with because we worked side by side for a couple years. And that guy's been through some shit. He had, I don't believe it was a heart attack, but it was like a congenital heart defect that almost killed him. He's younger than me. And then he had a minor stroke. And he just keeps trucking. And he's like one of the nicest human beings you'd ever want to meet. He is a horror boy, just like the rest of us. In fact, he had messaged me and was like, hey, did such and such come out on Shudder yet? And I was like, oh, it came out today. And he was like, I'm stealing your Shudder then for today. He's like one of the nicest human beings you'd ever want to meet. He's a great guy. He's hilarious. I'm constantly trying to get him to come on Spoopy Boys. But he did not have to do that. And he did it anyway. And, when I talked to him and I told him, you don't have to do this for me. I really appreciate it. He said, good people have to help other good people get to good spots, get to good places in life. And that's something I also believe in, and I hopefully all of you do as well. Where we got to be there for each other. Things are going to happen. Life's going to be hard sometimes, but if we're there for each other, you know what? It's a lot easier. It's easier to carry the load when there's more of us. So you don't end up throwing your back out and walking like Dr. Zayas for 6 months. So anyway, you can find me tomorrow. It's Chaos Karma. I didn't do my mini episodes with Cassandra Orion because I was kind of feeling shit yesterday. But that'll be tomorrow. And then Spoop Troop, excuse me. Sorry, I'm struggling. Spoop Troop is this week. I believe correct me if I'm wrong. I believe we decided to talk about.
In a Violent Nature.
Yes,
Yeah.
because I just watched it. You've seen it.
Mm-hmm. Yep. I love it.
I believe they called it. Oh God, what was it? Ambient horror.
Yeah.
It's the first ambient slasher, and I have thoughts. I will spoil my thoughts just a little bit by saying I fucking loved it.
Yeah. It's something else, I thought.
Yeah, but it is not for everyone.
Mm-mm-mm-mm.
Not at all.
Not
So
at all.
we're gonna talk about that for about an hour, and then basically we'll do Bearded games whenever Beard and Colin want to go into Moria.
Yeah.
They'll run that business, and then I picked up a new game yesterday based on watching someone play like 4 hours of it, called Rekka. And I might play Rekka. It is a single player game, and you are in a Eastern European country. The Slavic countries or Russia, I can't tell. And you basically become a witch.
Ooh.
With a witchy patron who may or may not be the Baba Yaga, and you build your own chicken-legged hut and go around doing stuff. It's pretty. It's not super graphic intense, but it's just very pretty, like a Forever Autumn. What I saw, there was no combat at all. It was just a lot of fetch stuff, and you get to literally build your hut. So there's a building aspect to it. So I'm kind of intrigued to play it. It looks kind of like a relaxing magical girl type of game. So yeah, I will see if my computer will run it. It should. It's not super graphically intense. So who the fuck knows now, though? I mean, it ran V Rising just fine. It ran fucking Valheim really well, but it can't run Enshrouded, and it can't run Mines of Moria, and can't run Pal World. So all games I purchased that I can't play.
For now.
Yeah. Also, Steam, your return policy sucks dick. You got 48 hours to return a game. What if I'm out around? What if I buy something or someone sends me something? Anyway, I'm not going to rant. By the way, Killer Frequency's back down to $9.99. So if anyone's interested.
Okay.
All right. I've talked for long enough because I'm sure you're tired of hearing my voice. I'm tired of hearing my voice. I hope everyone has a bombus ass rest of the Sunday.
Damn right.
Enjoy yourselves. Look out for one another, and we'll see you whenever we see you.
Yeah.
Monday, probably. I don't know. Bye.